Hey, Mike Callahan here. I want to make a quick video how to set up estimates that close themselves in Service Autopilot. So it can be a quick one tonight. I'll make an extended version later this week, but I just want to dive in and ask, or basically answer a question that was submitted here on the Facebook page. So as you're looking at it, we're looking at our expert workflow for Service Autopilot. And I think the first place you really want to start is understanding, is foundational understanding of the workflow from Service Autopilot, all the way from a lead all the way to invoice and collecting, and then we can build out an estimate that's going to be built for success. First thing we're going to do is build out an estimate request. So you're going to want to get an estimate request built with a Service Autopilot form that's going to track just a bare minimum of a sales source and the client info, and alert you that an estimate request was submitted and trigger it to do assigned to a specific person or role in your business to make sure that estimate's taken care of in the first 24 hours. On the bottom here, if a client calls, there's certain information that we need to get in the Service Autopilot at a bare minimum: first name, last name, email, address, and the service they want. And in addition, if they're commercial or residential, under the details tab, and how they heard about it. So we want to track the sales source to make sure that we're tracking whether they're converting off the website or if they call, whether they saw our trucks, they saw a flyer, whatever that was. I want to be able to track that, because once that's entered in, the foundational parts of Service Autopilot will give you the ability to run some really detailed reports on client acquisition costs and lead conversion per sales source. The part we're going to focus on today, once they're in the essay, is the estimates created. So we're going to go over some things called custom fields or job variables. This could be turf square footage of a home and home cleaning. We're going to get into some details of a design build estimate, but it's going to be applicable to pretty much any industry. So if you're in the home cleaning industry, it's definitely something you still want to watch. But we're going to figure out how to build those custom fields, how to add an estimate, select a template, a lead or client template. We're going to have different marketing conversations based on where they're in the customer life cycle. And we're going to create and save. Next thing we're going to go into estimate email. We're going to have a pre-built template that loads, and we're going to be able to have this pre-populated. It can be edited on the fly, but the whole idea is set it and forget it. Click email, it loads, and we send it. Once the estimate's lost, we're going to go through the ability of closing out the lead. There's certain things we need for list hygiene here. And if the estimate is one, we're going to suggest scheduling right off the estimate itself so we can convert that lead into a client. We got better tracking, and we're having list hygiene once again. Not included in this video, but as the workflow goes through this, I'm going to hit it on a high level. Next thing, you're going to go to schedule your work. So we're going to select whether you want a one-time job, a reoccurring job. That could be a weekly, bi-weekly cleaning or mowing. And we're going to do a waiting list job. The job doesn't need to be done today, but it needs to be done, say, in the next 30 days. We double check the price and budgeted times. We'll go into a route. We're going to use route optimization, whether it's the manual route optimization or the free optimization through Google, 23 stops or less. And then we're going to double check that with the pin order and save and either update it daily, weekly, or bi-weekly on that. Then you go through the dispatch board. You can adjust your crew members under the More tab, upper right-hand corner, if somebody doesn't show up. And we're going to get those dispatched out to your mobile or printed. Closeout day screen is one of the most important screens that is overlooked on a consistent basis, in my opinion. You want your start and stop time, budgeted time, and the price that you're actually using for the job. I can't tell you how many times in the last year we've gone through hundreds of accounts, how many people have these jobs set up with no pricing. If you have a contract and it's set up under an installment plan, you still want a price and budgeted time for each one of those jobs. It's not going to bill out each time, but you want that for reporting. So it's something that's really important there. And the last part is going out to invoice and collect. So you would go through your invoices print, invoices email, and credit cards to charge, and how to put prepayments and enter payments. So I'm going to tackle the estimating part, but I wanted to give you an idea of what Service Autopilot from front to back looks like. And this is what we've been setting up for people, and just literally giving these videos how to do it yourself if you're a DIY type of person. Next thing here is, as we're going through the estimate process, when somebody requests an estimate, these are the other key parts of an estimate before you try to build these out. First thing is a lead letter. These are going to be the 5 or 6 reasons why your business is different. This is right out of our instance, and basically it mentions the 5 or 6 reasons why our business is different. And at the bottom, it actually includes some customer testimonials. So we want to set ourselves apart from the competition and overcome any of those sales or price objections before they ever get to us. Next thing is short-term education. So if somebody's going in and requesting an estimate for lawn mowing or home cleaning weekly or bi-weekly, we're going to send out short-term education, particularly the service they're interested in. So this is an example of a lawn mowing estimate. We're going over proper equipment care, cutting height, and irrigation. So we want to go in and address the consumer and teach them how to do the service as an expert themselves. In this way, we're creating a higher perceived value. And through a series of 2 to 3 emails, we also suggest addressing any of the sales or price objections. In the Northeast, where I'm at, Two biggest questions are asked. Do I need to be home if the lawn's going to be mowed? And are you going to close the fence gate behind you if I have dogs and kids? I'm worried about that. So we address those. If you're watching live, we are hopping into the estimates in a second, but I want to give you some foundational workflow here. We're going to show you how to make a templated estimate. And this is going to be the process that you see here. So we're going to go in and show you how to build out this estimate. So with different lawn mowing or different services, maybe it's cleaning. We're going to show you how to include drive time. The customer doesn't see it, but we've got a total price, a rate, and a budgeted time, and a margin. So we're going to be able to go in and input all this in off a pre-built template. It loads, and then we're simply going to hit save and then email. So it's a very standardized process. Can be delegated. It does not resolve around the business owner or manager to complete. The final thing is when we go to email, this is the email that would go out. There's a clickable link quote in here. So it's literally set it and forget it and hit send. The client receives this and they click that link quote, and it's going to open up a live Service Autopilot estimate. And as we go into it, this is a copy of a quote that we send out. So it's got our service details, service terms, client's name, and on top it's got invoice details, general contract terms, and clickable buttons on the bottom here to call, text, or check out our website. This is what the actual estimate looks like. When you get to the bottom, we've actually embedded live videos. So these are the 9 top services that we have, and we're going out and educating the consumer. And if this was a live estimate, not just a slide deck, you could actually click on these videos and they play live inside the actual estimate. So we're taking you as a salesperson, the business owner, and replicating yourself through video. So now you don't have to answer all the questions every time someone calls. We can rely on the video. So if someone opens it at 9, 10 o'clock at night like this, we can go out and address what's included in the service, what's not included, and address any sales or price objections, as well as our satisfaction guarantees. We're going to differentiate ourselves through video, create a relationship with the consumer or the potential consumer. So if you're still going out and doing personal estimates, the people, if you're putting these content videos up before they actually get to you, 9 times out of 10, what I found is they'll actually feel like they actually know you and have trust in you before you actually get there. Now the conversation is not about price. It's about when can I sign up and actually get on the schedule. Last thing we hear is click to sign estimate. We have an electronic signature. At no extra cost, SA has this ability. So they can sign electronically with their mouse, and it's time and date stamped with an IP address. So this is the final part before we go in to build out the guts of the estimate of what it looks like on the final end. And then once the estimate's won, we send out a welcome email automatically. The job is booked and confirmed. We send up monthly content with upsells. So each month we have content through text and video, educating the consumer what they should be doing in their yard or home. So for the winter months, a big one for us was ornamental pruning. We educate them how to make the cuts and do it themselves, and a quick one-liner at the bottom. By the way, if you're here and you're looking at this and you need some help, we're here to help. And we follow up with 30, 60, and 90-day QC surveys for success. And if you haven't checked out Martha Woodward's Quality Driven, highly recommend that. That is just a great process now that is automated through Service Autopilot that gets those quality scores and some instant feedback for employees. So without any further ado, we're going to hop into actually how to build this out. So the question in Service Autopilot was how to build out a pricing matrix for design build. So I'm going to give you a quick preview of what we've got here. I've got an actual landscape bid I put together for general conditions, manager's truck, non-labor, materials delivery, mobilization, general conditions, different size gallon plantings, skid steer, supervision, different types of tree, B&B is balled and burlapped, different calibers. I've got some additional general cleanup conditions, manager's truck for production, and I've got some different other products here. So I'm going to show you how this all comes together in a design build scenario. But this is the same process for maintenance, a little bit simpler, or even home cleaning. This could be taken into a small, medium, large bedroom or master bedroom, or number of bathrooms, depending on the way you go at it. Or even in home cleaning, it could be the square footage of the home. So this isn't particularly just a lawn care, but this is a landscape design build question I'm asking particularly. But if you're in different industries, this can be helpful just to figure out how to build this out. So the first thing I recommend is going in and building something like this yourself, or if you work with Simple Growth, we call this a Simple Growth blueprint. And the analogy I use is you really aren't going to go out and build a house and put random doors and windows somewhere. You're not going to go out and build out a price matrix without a blueprint. So the biggest mistake that we see most people doing is they're creating a blueprint and implementing all inside Service Autopilot. This here is going to be able to track labor and materials, or just labor separately, with a standardized production rate. And this is going to give you the foundational part of building out an estimate without creating mathematical errors. So as we're going in here, I'm going to go into a lawn mowing example. Actually, we'll stick with the design build idea. So what I'm going to do is go in here and put in, for service number 3, we'll build this out as mulch installation. So we're going to put mulch installation in here. And our custom field is going to be bed square footage. And I'm going to say from 1 square foot to 200 square feet is 2 inches of mulch. And let's say we're going in and putting mulch in for $100, labor and materials installed. And if I know my labor hour, I want $55 per hour. And potentially it's costing me $28 an hour to produce that. That's our break even, fully loaded costs, all our insurance, gas, and overhead, G&A, general administrative costs in the office. That's a fully loaded number, break even. So it costs us $28 before we make a profit. If you don't know that number, check out some of the videos. We can show you how to create a break-even number, but that's what that is. And our cost per materials per 1 yard in this scenario, we're going to put that in. Let's just say we're buying it from the yard for $29. And our charge per 1 yard after the base price is going to be consistent of $100 here. So this is a foundational part. So I'm going to show you where this lines up in SA in a minute. But general understanding is we're doing mulch installation based on square footage. We're doing a 2-inch depth. So 1 to 200 square feet is 2 inches depth, a rate of $100. And on average, we're saying it's going to take one person only to actually install that mulch. Now, a lot of our southern clients or even northern clients go in and do bagged mulch. So I'm going to give you a bagged mulch example in a minute. Same idea, so you know what that looks like. So I'm going to say 1 to 200 is my base price of $100. So it's a 1 yard minimal. $100, 1 hour to put it in, $57 labor and materials to put that in. So we've taken this and we've added in our labor costs and our material costs. So we've got $43 profit and a 43% net margin. Then I'm going to say every 200 square feet, an additional $100, 1 more hour. And it's costing us here, and we need to update the formula, $57. So now every yard is $100 and it costs us $57 for labor and materials. I'm going to show you mulch installation with bags, and I'm going to show you how to break this all out in and put it in SA then. So we're going to say same exact equation here, and I'm going to copy this over and show you how we manipulate this. So we're going to go in, paste this in. Same exact thing, 1 to 200 square feet is $100. And it's going to take 1 hour, and our budget to break even will be a little bit different. But now our cost per 13.5 bags, because that 2 cubic bags at 13.5 is what it actually takes. So let's just say our bags are $2 a piece times 13.5. It's costing us $27. So it's the same exact process here, but our cost for labor and materials has gone down by $3 a yard. So that's how you would set up a bagged scenario based on square footage. Now you're probably wondering, what about mobilization or drive time or pickup? Those would be considered sub-services. So let's use the example here of the bagged mulch, and I'm going to make this 4A. So I'm going to go in here and put drive time / pickup for mulch. And I'm going to put in man hours. So I'm going to say from 1 to 1 trips is, let's say, 10 minutes. So 10 minutes times 2 guys is 20 minutes. So 0.33 hours. And if we're at $55 an hour and breaking even 28, we'd plug that in. In this case, there'd be no materials. So we would leave this blank here. And our rate is going to be equals 20 minutes times the $55 an hour of $18.15. And every 1 trip over, that is going to be equal to $18.50 and budget hours of 0.33. Now you can see this has actually come out and created a drive time scenario. So now that we have this, we're going into Service Autopilot, going under the gear icon, in setting up these services. Now, the reason we're using this blueprint is now we've already done the math and checked our pricing. If you have any questions here, I'll be happy to answer them as we're going along as well. So we're going to add in a service. And I'm going to call it M-mulch install. And for time's sake, I'm going to copy that in. So I'm going to put invoice description, code, service mode is going to be per unit. We're going to call this service income, estimate description here, and rate matrix. So this is where we connect the dots here. So I'm going in, I'm going quantity rate times visit. I'm going to select the bed square footage that I built out for a master form already. And I'm going into my pricing matrix, and I'm just literally copying these 5 cells right here. And they line up identical. So this is why this is considered a blueprint, in my opinion. So I'm going to say 1 to 200 is $100, 1 hour, and $57 expense. And it's going to be the same exact thing. So it's going to be 200 over 200, which is the base price. It's an additional $100, 1 hour to install it, and $57 labor and materials. And we're going to go in and hit save. That's how all the services are going to be set up. So the next thing is, once all the services are set up, we're going into job estimate template. So under the gear icon, we're going into the job estimate templates. Right here. And we would add a template. Upper right hand corner orange button. For time's sake, I'm going to show you a pre-built one that I've already built. And it is our landscape bid. So previously I had built out in the same fashion. Landscape bid is a parent service, and as child services I did cleanup, general condition, manager's truck, non-labor. And what we would do with the areas here is we just literally go in. So if we were planning 5 1-gallon shrubs, we'd put that in. That calculates the price. Maybe we're doing 2 2-gallon shrubs. You get the idea. And we're just going to go down and create a glorified checklist. Another way of doing this is creating a service autopilot form that you fill out as you're walking around in your mobile, with how many size gallon shrubs, how many days with the skid steer here. So if you had 2 days with a skid steer, it would bill that out at $900 a day for $1,800. But what we're doing is here with the gallon plans, we've got a price, a budgeted time, and a cost. So we're going in and creating a systemized workflow as we work down this pre-checked list. So this is how I would build out an actual estimate for landscape install. And then you can also have products. We can go in and say, okay, we've got 2 of these 3 to 5 foot height container maple trees. Plug that in, and now we've got a price behind it. And then you could go in and put confirm or invoice it out, or create installed products. So if you wanted to confirm, this crew would have to confirm how many of these they planted. So that's one way of setting this up. But at the end of the day, all the consumer sees is landscape bid for 1944 or 1946.66, and we're good. So this is one way of doing a landscape bid. You create all the services with sub-services, estimate only, and now we can go through a glorified checklist to create a landscape install. Rochelle wants to know, can you show me a furnished estimate so I know what it looks like? Absolutely. So what we're going to do is go in and hit save, scroll up, and hit email as soon as this loads. Bear with me here. Let's see if we can refresh that. Well, actually, so we're actually in the, so we're actually in the template still. So what I'm going to do is go into the client, grab a test client, and actually go live. So once we have those variables filled out, we could go into the A Auto Assist or forms here and potentially use an on-site estimate form. I think I may have one here just for a quick example what this could look like. So I'll wait for this to load and show you, and then I'll actually show you the workflow through the estimate in the final process. So if there's any other questions, feel free to put them up and I'll answer them here before we go off. But I want to show you what the final workflow looks like here. And internet at the house is slow, so I apologize if it's a little delayed. So I went in under the A Auto Assist here. I'm going to pull that back up so you can see the workflow. So either A under Auto Assist or Forms, we're going to be able to pull up the estimate, on-site estimate form. And what we've been building out for people is it literally lists turf square footage, bed square footage, number of small, medium, and large shrubs, man hours for spring cleanup, man hours for fall cleanup. You plug all these in. So once you got back to the office, you could potentially hit add an estimate, and when the template pulls up, it automatically loads all the variables and pricing. So I'm going to see if I've got a copy of the on-site estimate form or just an example here for you. So I do not in this test account. But if you imagine a service autopilot form and we're just entering in all of those examples, and then once they're in there, we can go in and grab this estimate form. So we're going to go in and add an estimate. Right here. And then Dustin asked about what about adding job detail. I'll show you how to add that as well once I get this in here. So we're going to go in. We're going to grab our template. Once this loads, so Dustin, under the paper icon there, the notebook, in the job estimate, we're going to be able to do the template description. And traditionally, once that's in there, you want to preload a description and then customize it off the fly. So we're going to go in and hit templates. We're going to grab the M landscape bid. We were manipulating a little bit, so these prices are already pre-populated. So a good point would be if you want it pre-defaulted for maybe debris disposal or things like that, you can load it. You would add your variables in. We'd scroll down. You've got your $1,100 job. You would hit save. We're going to scroll back up, hit email. After we quote, we're going to hit email. And I'll show you what the final product looks like here in a test account. So I'm going to plug in my emails just so I can pull this up and show you what it looks like. We've got a preloaded email with a clickable link, so you don't have to do anything. You go to hit send. And I'm going to go over to my other screen here and grab this email and pull it over. All right, and we've got it over here. And there we go. So us consumer is going to go in and click view proposal. So I'm acting as the actual consumer at this point. I'll suck that down so you can see it. This is the actual estimate. Now, obviously, you'd have different conditions in here and typed out like Dustin asked, but this would be in the consumer go and could click it, accept it. You'd have some more details. If this is just a test example on the back end, how to set it up. They'd click here to sign the estimate. We'd sign it electronically with our mouse. Hit save, type their name in, and accept proposal. Let me swing that over to the other side here, and I'm going to open this back up. Now that we're back on the client screen, we're going to be able to pull that up. And now, once I refresh this, and I want to answer Dustin's question exactly here. So we want to go to that little icon right here, click on it. The default estimate description would be there. Once you click on that, you can type whatever you want in here specific to that design build job. You can add job notes, particularly for the crews, and the invoice or line item here as well. So that is going to be how you add more detail, but you want those estimate descriptions built out as like clean as possible, and then you customize it on the fly here, but you want that preloaded. But this is obviously just a generic example I came up with. now that I go through here, I'm going to close this out and show you what the final product looks like once they accept it. So we're going to go in and refresh it. The estimate now is 1. This is a good way here with the estimate bar all the way across the screen. You know that's a lead. It's chunked out in 3 separate areas if it's a client. We're going to go in and check out the 1 estimate I just accepted and show you what that looks like with the signed contract, and then how to schedule that right off the actual client screen. So we're going to click on that. Upper right hand corner, I've got signature information. If I go under attachments, I've got a printable PDF that I can go into. So as we scroll down, the system's smart enough to basically stop you. So if they're a lead, you can't schedule until you convert them into a client. So we're going to go in, and once this loads up, show you that process real quick and answer any of the questions in the live video feed. So now it's 1, it's time and date stamped. I'm going to go in and hit schedule. The system's going to pop up a window and say, hey, wait a minute, this person's not a client yet. We're going to convert them. Now we can go in and schedule them. This involves duplicate entry, and we're going to schedule that job, and we're going to make it a one-time job. And we're going to go in now and select the actual date. But the cool thing about this, when you schedule off the estimate, in my opinion, is it comes through with all your products and a rate and budgeted hours. So nothing is missed. There's no double entry, and it's a smooth transition as you work through that workflow. So that's how you set up a design build estimate on a high level in Service Autopilot. You're going to create that job estimate template with all the services and sub-services listed, so you have a hiring or an estimating checklist. And as you go through it here, just a quick review, if you're just joining or you want a quick review of this, you're going to be going through lead acquisition, enter an SA, create the estimate, select that template, have everything load, hit quote for what you want. If you add the variables in, whether it's through Maps Pro or an on-site estimate form in a mobile, you email that estimate. They're either lost or won. You still route, dispatch, close out date, invoice, and collect. That's the workflow. As they hit the estimate request, we're going to send them a lead letter. These are the 5 or 6 reasons why your business is different. We're going to send them short-term education, how to specifically do the service themselves. So if you're doing design build, there is a lot of value here. You want to teach them how to do the service as a professional, the questions they should be asking if they're shopping you. A template estimate that loads where you can have parent and child services. Child services don't show to the consumer, but that's your estimating checklist. So whether it's drive time or mobilization or any of those other things that we showed you. And then we have, at a minimal, you want to rate, budgeted time, and cost. Then we email it. Email goes out to the consumer, clickable link. You can customize it on the fly, but really it's just a set it and forget it. Client clicks it and opens it, and now they have an estimate with check boxes on the right. They can select or deselect, invoice details, general contract terms, and most important, hopefully either videos or more text explaining each service of what's included, what's not included. Click for an estimate, electronic signature. So hopefully it's helpful, but that's how I would break out a design build estimate in Service Autopilot. So if there's not any other questions, happy to close this up. It looks like, Dustin, we answered your questions. Rochelle, was that, if you're still watching, was that enough to kind of cover what the furnished estimate looks like? Hopefully that is. So we will be answering any of the questions on the recorded version.